All right, guys, the recording has started. Okay. Today we'll actually start on the entire architecture. Okay. Yesterday and day before we have actually discussed on the 2-tier architecture and the 3-tier architecture. Today we'll actually start about the entire architecture. Before I go ahead, one more chance, guys. Any questions? Okay, let me take a quick poll. Sweta, what is an app server?
Hi. App server, like it will based on the dynamic data from the site or the request. It will fetch the data from the database server and send the request to the website.
Right, it would actually serve the dynamic pages, right?
Yeah, that is very right.
Okay, and it has the business logic in that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now, Mangesh, what does a DB server consist of?
DB server, in that we can manage the database of the application.
Okay.
And we can store the data of application.
We can store all the data in the database server, and it is maintained by structured in a structured way, so that the SQL statements would actually be able to retrieve all the data that is there, and it would help app server in order to build the dynamic pages, right?
Right. Yes.
Pavani, give me an example of web server. Pavani?
Yes, sir.
Give me an example of web server, and Murthy, don't help.
Sure, sir.
Pavani, you have gone on mute.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat the question, sir?
Give me an example of web server. What are the different web servers that are there? Yesterday we have talked about a few examples, right?
One is IAS, sir.
One is
IAS.
IAS. Okay.
Yes.
Can you give me another one?
I remember only one, sir.
You have to concentrate. Please go through the notes. Please, while the class is going on, please take the notes and please go through these notes. All right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, guys. So these are the different types of servers that are there, and you would actually have the application hosted, application divided into multiple parts, and it would be hosted on different machines, different servers. Why the application has to be divided into multiple parts? Why can't we have everything on one server? Yes, guys. Nobody asked me this question. I thought somebody would ask. At least in the last couple of days, I thought at least somebody would ask. Since nobody is asking, I'm only telling. Yes, guys.
Because it is easy to rectify if the issues will be occur on any time.
To store in one server, it is handled through access mode.
It will be
Sir, if there is
for
different servers, it is easy to handle the load and transactions.
Exactly. All the reasons are correct. Okay. Now, one of the main reason is when you actually dedicate a server to one particular task, and you have a software which is actually able to do the particular task efficiently. That would be the most efficient way of getting stuff done. Okay. For example, if you are asked to do the development, testing, maintenance and everything on an application, would you be able to do? Probably yes. That is called as a full stack engineer, right? Probably yes, but then it would not be very, very efficient, isn't it? Yes, guys. But then let's say you're concentrating on only the performance testing. Then what would happen? You would actually be able to understand the complete logics of the performance testing in and out of it, and you would actually be able to do that very, very properly, right? Yes, guys. So similar fashion, yes, guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So similar fashion, if you are developing a software to do one particular task, that would be very, very efficient. So the softwares are developed, like the app server software, like WebSphere, WebLogic. These kind of softwares are developed in order to build the business logics properly. The MS SQL Server, Oracle, MongoDB, all this DB softwares are developed in order to store the data and in order to retrieve the data very, very fast. Okay, very, very efficiently. That's why we are actually having these softwares installed on multiple servers so that you would actually be able to get the best performance out of this. Okay, clear about it, guys? Now, guys, let's say I'm actually trying to test this particular Amazon.com. At this particular point of time, guys, how many people, just give a guess, like how many people would do you think will be accessing Amazon.com, either through mobile application or through web application? Millions of users, isn't it? There will be millions of users who would actually be accessing Amazon.com or Google.com or ICICI Bank.com or any major websites, isn't it? So what you have to do is you would actually have to ensure that this particular application is actually able to take the load. But whatever is the kind of server that you put, whatever is the big servers that you actually put in, would it be able to take care of those millions of users? Yes, guys, will it be able to take care of millions of users?
No, sir.
Probably, yes, but you would have to employ supercomputers, right? Balakrishnan, did you join just today? Balakrishnan? Venkata Subramanian Balakrishnan. Can you hear me? You're on mute if you are speaking. Okay, see, he left. Sometimes, guys, we are actually seeing that people are coming in from just to create some disturbance. That's why we are concentrating on who exactly is coming and who exactly is in the session. Okay, so I'm just trying to be conversant with that. Okay, anyways, so you might actually have to have supercomputer in order to handle millions of users coming into the system, right? But is it easier to have a supercomputer, or is it be able to easier to have multiple computers handle all this load?
Multiple computers.
Multiple computers would be easier, right? So what you would do is you would actually have now, guys, what I'm trying to do is instead I'm only concentrating on this particular application. Okay, I'm only concentrating on the application. So rest of the stuff you already know. Okay, let's say this is the application. Okay, let's say this is the application. Okay, now you what you would do is you would actually have multiple computers, multiple
Sir, this is an application or application server?
this is an application altogether. Okay, this is the complete web application. Okay, your ICICIbank.com, Amazon.com, or whatever, right? When you try to access this, you are actually getting a response from this site. Okay, as an end user, what you do, you don't care whether your response is actually coming in from what are the different servers that are involved, whether your response is coming in from app server, DB server, web server, whatever. As an end user, we don't care, isn't it? But then internally, all these servers are involved, and what we are trying to do is, as part of performance testing, what we are trying to do, we are actually trying to understand which particular server is having bottlenecks. All right, which particular server is having bottlenecks. Is that clear? Yes, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Balakrishnan, are you able to speak now?
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, Balakrishnan, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. Is this your first class? Did you join before?
No, this is my first.
This is your first class. Okay. Can you give a little background about yourself?
Yeah, I'm currently working in a very testing domain only. So I'm already working in have experience in API testing. I wanted to learn for this matter.
Okay. All right. So we have actually finished a few sessions before, and all these are demo sessions. So everything is actually the videos are publicly accessible to all the users. So you would actually be able to view those videos in the YouTube. Okay, so please go through the YouTube channel. Just search for like performance testing real-time training, and you would actually be able to find this Pavan MGMIT. Pavan is my colleague who would actually be who actually owns this institute and all. So performance testing live training, and you would actually be able to see the okay, so this one, Pavan MGMIT. Okay, so just subscribe to this channel and you would actually be able to see all the trainings that are there. Okay, so over here, all these particular demos are uploaded over here, so you can actually go through the demos. May 8th, we have actually, May 28th, we have actually started the first demo session. So from there, you have, all the videos available over here. Okay.
Okay.
So please go through these videos in order to go through the demo sessions. And also, if you join the course and you want to actually hear the live demo sessions, then we might actually be starting a batch in another month or so. So in that batch you can actually hear all these demo sessions. Okay.
Okay.
Right now we are actually going through the entire architecture on how these servers are deployed, and let's actually go through that to ensure that all the others are not disturbed. But you can go through the videos before while you are actually attending these sessions as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. And did you contact Pawan by any chance?
Yeah, I contacted him and I got a message to like there is a demo session for him. So that's why. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he's actually going through some personal crisis, so he's not he's sometimes not picking up calls. So if you have to call, then let's say this is my number. Okay, so you can WhatsApp me or call me on the WhatsApp on this number. Okay, so we if you need any more information, we can discuss. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the training, guys. So what we can do is we can actually have multiple web servers instead of a single web server like this over here, which might not actually be able to handle all the load that is coming in from, onto a bigger website like Amazon, Google, ICICIbank.com, HDFCbank.com, or anything like that. What you do, you can have multiple servers in order to handle all this load, right? Now, when you have multiple servers, when the request is actually coming in, which server would the request choose? Yes, guys?
Which are free.
But how does the request know that this particular server is free?
During load balancer will be work.
Exactly. There would be another server that we would deploy before this, which we call it as load balancer. Okay. These are all web servers, guys. These are all web servers. Okay. Now there is another server that we would actually deploy on before this, all these web servers, which we call it as load balancer. Okay. Now what this load balancer does? All it does is it would actually send out this particular, it would actually balance the load. Okay, as the name suggests, it would actually balance the load. All the requests that are coming in, it would actually, try to, divide them among all these different web servers. There are several algorithms in order to do that, guys. One of the famous algorithm, we call it as round robin. Okay, one of the famous algorithm, we call it as round robin. Entire architecture. What are the new terms that we are actually, bringing in? Load balancer. And what is one of the famous algorithm that is there? Round robin. Okay. And what is round robin? The first request would go to the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and so on. All right. It would actually divide the requests like that, all among all the servers. Okay. There are several, algorithms, guys. I'm sorry. There are several algorithms, guys. And one of them is round robin. Again, once this is done, once the request is coming into the web servers, it has been divided among the web servers. What would happen? It would actually, if it is actually the request is asking for dynamic content, then the request has to be forwarded to the application server, right? So, sorry. So again, application servers also, you might need to have multiple application servers, right? You might need to have multiple application servers. So again, you would actually have a you might actually have a load balancer before this, or there could be a one-to-one mapping according to the architecture how you have actually designed. And what would happen? You would actually have this application servers, getting the requests. Okay. Now, guys, would you have multiple DB servers? No, there would be only one DB server. This DB server should be, pretty efficient. Okay, this DB server should be pretty efficient. Okay, of course, guys. When I say one DB server, in order for the failover to handle the failover, what would happen? You might actually have multiple DB servers. Okay, for the in order to handle the failover situation, you can have multiple DB servers. What do I mean by failover? Yes, guys.
Any hardware failure on the server.
Any hardware failure, any data center failure, or anything like that. What would happen?
Will go
If this
down.
DB server fails, then what should happen? Automatically, there should be this failover DB server that should be able to take care of, and all the traffic should automatically be redirected to that particular failover DB server, and you should be able to get the responses. Okay, guys, let's say your Flipkart.com has not responded to you for a few hours. What would happen? You wanted to buy something, you went on to Flipkart.com, the server is not responding. You are not getting any response from the application because the DB server is down. There was some hardware failure and the DB server is down. What would you do? Yes, guys.
We will purchase from another website.
Another website.
Business
Guys,
loss.
in fact, very recently I had a real-time example. I myself was trying to purchase two-wheeler insurance. Okay, I wanted to renew my insurance of my bike. Okay, and I've got a message from Reliance General saying that okay, follow this link in order to renew your insurance. I tried following that link. I did not get any response. It kept saying that my insurance is lapsed, whereas my insurance did not lapse. It was there was still 2 days in order to lapse. So what did I do? Immediately I went to policybazaar.com and I checked for other insurance providers. And in fact, I actually found some insurance, that is cheaper than Reliance General, Royal Sundaram, right? So I went with Royal Sundaram. I immediately booked the insurance policy on Royal Sundaram, right? But did I initially search for a cheaper deal?
No.
No, I didn't. No, whatever, right? I initially took it with Reliance General. He asked me to renew, so I was trying to renew, but then the server is down. That is when I started searching for options. Okay, clear about it, guys? So there would be some loyal customers whom you don't want to piss off, whom you want to ensure that they are pretty happy, they're ready to pay the price. Even if it is a little bit premium, they are ready to pay the price. So you have to ensure that those guys are not gone. Yesterday, I got a call from Reliance General. They're saying, hey, you know what, your insurance is lapsed, but then we would still consider it because our server were down for a couple of days. I said, I don't care. I already bought it from Royal Sundaram. In fact, they gave me a cheaper deal. Right? So guys, what you have to do is, your servers should never go down. As simple as that. Your servers should never go down. You have to ensure that your everything is available at all times. Otherwise, people would shift. People would shift loyalties in GIF very, very fast. Okay, so you need to maintain this, backup servers and everything, right? Especially for the bigger businesses, this is very important. All right. Now, guys, let's say I'm not able to access Google. Then what would happen? I would try Bing. I would try ChatGPT. There are several options that are there, isn't it? Yes, guys.
Yes.
There is nobody in the market who is the sole provider of a service. Okay, everyone has competitors. So you would actually have to ensure that your your customers stay with you. All right. Clear about that, guys? So
Yes.
what you would do is you would actually maintain a DR server. You very famously, this is called as a DR server. What is DR? Disaster recovery. Okay. Okay. So what you would do, in the real time, while this this DB server is actually giving you all the responses, what it would also do is it would actually update whatever the transactions that are happening over here. It would also update it over here as well, right? In the real time, guys. In the real time, everything would be getting updated on the DR server as well. Why?
When it goes down, DR will accept.
I'm sorry.
When the actual database server goes down or if there is a hardware failure, DR server will.
DR server should have real-time data,
Yeah. So the
right?
data will be
When the
replicated.
DB server goes down, the DR server should have real-time data. Guys, especially for the financial institutions. Let's say I have some 10 lakhs in my account. I don't have, but I'm just giving an example. Let's say I have some 10 lakhs in my account. Now, I have withdrawn 10 lakhs. I've completely withdrawn 10 lakhs. Now, after I have withdrawn 10 lakhs, suddenly something happened and this DB server went down. So the bank shifted to the DR server. Okay, the bank shifted to the DR server. Now let's say the real-time updates are not happening. In that case, what would happen? My account
That transaction
would
will
still
not
show 10 lakhs. Now what I can do? I can withdraw 10 more lakhs, isn't it? That would become a fraud. But investigating fraud, getting the money back, all that is a different story. But that should not even happen, isn't it? There would be huge money involved. There would be huge consequences that would be involved. Okay. Or take the other scenario, right? Like, I don't have any money. Now I have deposited 10 lakhs into my account. Something happened. It has actually gone down and it has actually shifted to the DR server. Now my money, since there is no real-time update, my money is not showing up over here. What would happen? When I want to actually withdraw, there is no money in my account. What would I do? I would immediately sue the bank, isn't it? Yes, guys. So what you have to do is you would actually have to ensure that you have all the data that is ready. Yes, guys. Am I confusing you? Is this okay?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So let's actually give a names. Application servers and DB server, and this is DRDB. Okay. Now this is very similar to the 3-tier architecture, right? You have a web server, you have an app server, you have a DB server. This is very similar to the 3-tier architecture. The only thing that that has actually come in additionally is this load balancer, isn't it? I'm sorry. And also a DR server. Of course, the DR server, this is a completely different concept. This could also be there in the 3-tier architecture as well. Okay. Right. Now, what are the other tiers that are involved in an entire architecture? What you can do is, guys, basically why we are going with the entire architecture, because either the application is very, very complex, it has a huge traffic that is coming in, or you're actually trying to develop the application in a way that you would actually be able to reuse the same components in multiple different applications of the same server, of the same product. For example, you have an ICICIbank.com. Okay. Now, as an end user, I would actually use the ICICIbank.com. If you actually go to the bank, then the bank employee would also have the access to all your accounts and everything, right? Would he have a separate database and separate everything?
No, sure.
No, it would be the same, but the application that he is actually using might actually be a little different. Okay, the application that he is actually using might actually be a little different, and he would still have access to the same DB. right? And he might actually be authorized to access much more details than you would actually be able to authorize, you are actually authorized to access, right? For example, if I want to have my transaction details from past 5 years, would I be able to get that from the bank website? Before 5 years transaction details, would I be able to get it from my bank website?
No,
Not
I
possible.
think
But if I go to the bank, if I actually send out an email to the bank, or if I go to the bank physically and if I ask the bank employee to access that, then he would actually be able to access that particular data, right?
Yes.
Why? Because all the data is archived, and that archive tables are not accessible to the end user, whereas those archive tables, those are accessible to the bank employees. They are authorized to use that particular archive tables. Yesterday we've spoken about authentication and authorization, right? Yes, guys. I am also
Yes.
authorized to. I'm also authenticated in order to access this particular bank DB with my credentials. The bank employee is also authenticated, but then the bank employee would have higher authorization, would have much more, tasks that he could do rather than me, isn't it? Yes, guys.
Yes. Yes.
So, uh, so what you would do is you would actually have, in this particular entire architecture, why we are actually developing this particular application in the entire architecture is because you might want to have multiple applications making use of the same kind of servers, the same kind of database, and all this. Okay, so what you would have to do, you would actually need, in order to maintain all this, you might actually go with the entire architecture. Okay, so there could be multiple other components that would be involved, especially when there is a lot of load that is coming in. For example, uh, all the static content would actually be handled by the web servers. That's what we said, right? But then even that is actually becoming difficult. Let's say the web servers is getting so much traffic that the web servers are not able to handle that. In that case, what you do, you might actually have a image server. There could be multiple image servers that you can actually put over here that might actually be able to handle only the images that are being requested. Okay, so for example, I have this particular website. uh, okay, tell me a website, guys. Yes, guys, tell me a
Flipkart.
website. Okay,
Flipkart.
Flipkart. Okay, so when I actually try to access this particular Flipkart, there are so many images that are coming in, isn't it? There are so many images that are coming in. Now, all these images, if I, let's say, all these images, if I have to actually get it from the web server, then that it might actually become a little difficult. So you might actually have a separate server just to store the images, so that you would actually be able to get the images from this image server, and the load on the web servers might actually get reduced. Okay, clear about it, guys?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
So this image server also need a load balancer.
Depending on how many images, depending on how many servers that you are actually putting it over there. Okay, usually it is pretty straightforward, right? So you might actually have only one. Okay, okay, at least I worked infamously, most of my career is into banking domain, and that is where you would have a little lesser images, right? I worked with only one image server. I'm not very sure, what happens with a e-commerce application where there are thousands of images, and those are changing every day, isn't it? I would assume there would be multiple image servers. Okay.
Okay.
And then, guys, let's say, again, coming back to the topic of authentication. If I have to authenticate, let's say I'm actually authenticating with Sham and a password, right? Now, how would I authenticate? all my details would actually be there in the DB server, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, just for authentication, I would have to go through the web server, app server, DB server, and there could be multiple other things that are there in between, and you would have to finally reach the DB server in order to authenticate, just for the authentication. Now, guys, what I can do is, what people have done is, they have actually created one small kind of DB server, okay, and they called it as
Authentications.
LDAP. They called it as LDAP, okay, and this would actually help you to authenticate. Okay, clear about it, guys? Listing directory authentication protocol. All right. So you have introduced an image server, you have introduced a LDAP server. There could be multiple other servers that that can get involved. At this point, guys, I don't want to go any further because especially some of the non-computer background guys might actually get scared. But guys, please remember, all this are simple, different kinds of servers. That's it. And the concept is basically the same. For example, the image server is mainly dependent on the concept of web service. Right? All it does is serve the images. The LDAP is mainly dependent on the concept of DB. Right? All it does is just do the authentication. Right? Clear about it, guys? So there can be multiple components that can be involved, and those components can have a smaller task, and that would actually help you to reduce the load on the different servers, and that would help you to get your application working faster. Clear about it, guys?
Yes.
Any questions? I'll take a pause over here. Any questions?
Sir, if continuously we are listening that data is leaked, sir, we data is leaked in DB servers or web servers, sir?
Data is leaked.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you mean general sense, right? Like there is this particular hack, and multiple users data has been released to the
Yes,
general
yes.
public. Yeah. Okay, I got your point. Yes, the data is going to be hacked from either the DB servers or the LDAP servers. If you don't follow proper security protocols, then what would happen? The hackers would actually be able to get to the LDAP servers or the DB servers, and they would actually be able to get all the data from these servers. Right? There can be multiple things, guys. Now, if if the hacker is able to hack the DB server, then why would he take only a part of data? You would hear that 80,000 users records have been leaked to the hackers, isn't it? Now there could be millions of users on this particular application. Why only 80,000 data has been leaked? Yes, guys. Probably the hackers were not able to get until the DB server. Probably they were only able to get until the application servers, and on the application servers they were able to access the logs. There would be application server logs that would be there, right? So normally, guys, what would happen is, if you follow the proper protocols in order to develop this application, all the PII data. What is PII? Yes, guys, what is PII?
Personal information.
Personally identifiable information. Okay. PII. What is PII? Personally identifiable information. Right? That is, with this particular information, you would actually be able to identify one particular person or one particular user. Right? Those kind of data is called PII. For example, your username, your address, Okay, your passwords. This kind of data is called as PII. Okay, so those PII data should not be logged, whether in the web server or in the app server, anywhere. It should not be logged openly. It should, even if you have to log it for some, debugging purposes, you would actually have to log it in a way that it is in a different format. Okay, it is completely in a different format, so that nobody can understand unless they have the secret key in order to debug that. Okay, clear about it, guys? But then if you don't follow those guidelines, and if the hackers are able to get to this particular application server logs, then what can happen? Yes, guys, all the PII data that are there on the application server logs, they would actually be able to have the access to. Okay, that is what most of the times it would happen, guys. Okay, yes, guys, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Good question though.
So, Shyam, can we use multiple load balancer for the suppose we have a 10 web server and 10 application servers. So for the web server, we can use 2 or 3 load balancer.
No, usually we would have only one load balancer for all the web servers, and that is it's a pretty simple job, guys. For the web server, it is not a big task. It is pretty simple job. All it has to do is to redirect the request to the appropriate, according to the algorithm that it has been designed with. It has to just redirect that particular request. So it's not a hard job. It can handle the load.
Okay. So when we are requesting to the web server or application server, suppose we got an error 400 404 or something. So where can we get that particular error logs? So in which?
Okay, I'll come to that, but not exactly at this point. I'll come to that. Okay, probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Sir, how do we know data is leaked, sir?
How do we know data is leaked? Yes, you would actually be able to see that there is logging everywhere. Somebody actually tries to access this particular data. You would actually be able to see that in your firewall logs. You would actually be able to see that on the application server logs, on the web server logs, wherever the data is leaked. Everything would be logged. Okay, so you would actually be able to see that all this data is transferred to this particular server or this particular machine. You would actually be able to see all that. All right, so that is why, guys, what would happen is if they don't observe the logs very properly, what would happen? That particular data leak might actually go undetected for quite some time, or sometimes it would go completely undetected. Okay, and when they observe those logs, and when they're able to see that, okay, some data leak happened, that is when they announce, and they would actually say that, okay, guys, be careful. All right, yes, guys.
Sir, once you can tell about application server.
Sure. Before I go into that, somebody has actually asked me about the protocol and where that particular error logs will be logged and all that. Guys, please ensure that if I don't talk about it tomorrow, please follow me up. Okay, I would definitely talk about it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't want to scare off everyone with all information in one go. So I'm going a little slow. All right. Yeah.
This
Now,
diagram, no? So I just want to know the where we put that Dynatrace agent or Splunk agent. So that's
okay, the Dynatrace agent or the Splunk agent, for Dynatrace agent, if you want to have access to the complete pure paths, if you want to have access to the complete pure paths of where exactly the issue is coming in, you would have to install the one agent on all the servers, web server, application server, DB server, on all the servers. You need to have this particular one agent installed.
So there will be web server W1, W2, W3. So in each server, we need to install the agent.
Yes, one agent has to be installed. Okay. Not
After
only
after the load balancer or before the load?
after the load balancer.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now somebody asked me, in order to explain more about the application server, right? So what is an application server? Yes, guys. Can somebody else take this question for me?
Sir, which will handle the dynamic content of an application.
It would handle the dynamic content of the application. Pretty good. Okay. And
From the DB and response to the web servers as a business logic.
as the business logic. Okay, it would actually execute the business logic, and it would take whatever the data that it needs from the DB server, and it would actually
And over to the web server.
present the dynamic content. Whatever the dynamic content has to be there, it would actually present that particular dynamic content to the end user. In order to give a simple example, what we can do, we can actually say, like, for example, if I'm trying to access this particular emails, then what would happen? What should happen? When I enter my login credentials, according to whatever the kind of login credentials that I have entered. For example, I have entered my training credentials. So what would happen? All the details regarding this, whatever the training that I'm actually following through, all these details would actually pop up. Right, all the mails that I have got and all the the background that I have set, all this would actually pop up. How would it be able to pop up? All this data is there in the DB server, but then it has to be presented in a proper format, isn't it? It has to be presented in a proper format. Okay, this mail has actually, it has been received last night at 11:17 p.m. Okay, this mail was received on June 3rd. This mail is received on May 30th. They have to be sorted in a proper manner. Okay, so all this particular format, who would do it? The app server would do it. Okay, when the the DB server, when I ask, okay, give me all the mails that I have received, it would give me a dump of all the mails that I have received, right? But then the app server would properly put it in a proper format. Maybe I have actually selected a custom background. Okay, you can select some backgrounds in the Gmail, right? So maybe I've selected a custom background, and it would actually put all that particular custom background and everything, and it would actually maintain that particular page, and it would build that particular page on the fly, and it would actually give me the details. Now, for example, if I've got another mail, then what would happen? Whenever I refresh it, whenever I click on this refresh, what would happen? The app server would again check from the DB server if there are any new emails or any custom changes that I have made to this page, and it would build a different page. If I've got a new email, it would build a different page, and it would actually show up over here, right? So this is the job of the app server. It is going to build a dynamic content based upon the business logic. Clear about it?
Yes.
For example, if I access my bank's website, then maybe I have a I have a savings account, I have a credit card, I have a loan, and I also have a demat account. Now, what would happen when I try to access my account? All four would actually show up, right? When I actually log in, all the four accounts would actually show up. Now, somebody else might only have a savings bank account. Would they get the get some credit card details or anything like that? No, they would actually have access to, when they log in, they would actually have access to only their bank account, right? Like that, it would actually retrieve the data from the DB server. It would build a page dynamically on the fly. It would actually try to build a page, and it would actually give you the response. That is the job of the application server. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Then
Right.
what LDAP work when LDAP comes in picture?
LDAP is listing directory authentication protocol. It is just an it is just a small, very small kind of DB server that that is placed right after the web server in order to ensure that if just the authentication is needed. Okay, if just the authentication is needed, in that case, you would actually have this particular LDAP. Okay, simple authentication. You would not need too much data from the DB server. In those cases, you would actually have the LDAP server that would be put in.
So
Okay,
authentication.
for an example, let's just say, for example, you are trying to log into yatra.com. Okay, let's just take for an example. You're trying to log into yatra.com. The moment you enter your login credentials, what would it say? Let's say I entered Sham and my password. What would it say? Welcome, Sham.
Yes.
Okay, now book a flight. It would give me all the options and everything. But would it have anything else apart from that?
No.
Apart from that, might not be really, right? It would just say welcome, Sham. That's the only page that is actually coming in. Maybe I can actually go for my booking history. When I go for booking history, then it has to go and it has to retrieve all the data from the DB server. Okay, but then just when I log in, it might not retrieve all the data regarding my history and everything. All it has to say is, okay, is this guy really registered with me or not? If he's registered, what is his name? That is all that it needs. Got it? So in those cases, instead of unnecessarily loading up the DB server, you would actually have a different server called as LDAP that would be deployed, so that the load on the DB server would actually be reduced a little bit.
So it's works similar as a single tier architecture.
It's an entire architecture. You are introducing multiple tiers over there.
Yes, yes. So when I hide the from application server, image server, and load balancer, the load balancer, web server, and LDP, it works as a single tier.
You can't really say that. You can't just say that it's a single tier. Just with the web server and the LDAP server, you can't maintain a complete application. Okay. If you have to maintain the application, you need to have all these different tiers that are there, all these different components that are there to the application. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. If DB goes down, like a DRDB, like it will be activated immediately, or we need to activate it manually, like in the server.
Yeah, that completely depends upon how your DR has been configured. Okay, there are some places, I have worked with multiple places, and there are some places wherein the DR servers have been configured automatically. The moment this DB goes down, everything would automatically try to switch to the DR servers. Okay, and there are some places wherein there are SREs that would actually try to shift it to the DR. Okay. So it all depends upon the kind of application that you're dealing with, the way that it is configured, the way that it is designed, and everything. Okay.
Okay, sure. And if the DB is down, like the data will be already the data will be stored in DR.
Yes.
And like we are accessing currently like a DR, and already the DB is down. How the data will be again moved to like a DB?
As I said, the DR server would be synced in the real time. It should always be syncing. If you add some transaction in the DB server, it would immediately get added in the DRDB as well.
Yeah, like currently, like the DB will be down, right?
Yes. So the sync, the auto sync would be to the level of milliseconds.
Okay.
Okay, so unless there is some transaction in the microsecond, something happened and that didn't get updated to the DR server, that's a rare case scenario, and that is something that we cannot avoid, right? With the technology that is available, they can actually sync it at the level of milliseconds, right?
Okay.
So a few milliseconds, the the data would be synced in the DRD. Okay, and you would actually have all the present data in the DRD, most present data.
Sir,
Okay?
it is possible that both DB and DR will be hacked.
It is possible. Everything is possible, right? That is the reason why the security engineers are paid so much, isn't it? The security engineers, they're the that is the most paid job. Okay.
Sir, but I mean DB and DR also will be, I mean, get down or slow web servers. I mean,
Yes,
if
that
there is no backup, both are get down.
yeah, that is always possible, but that is a very rare scenario, right? And that is the reason why the DR servers usually will be maintained in a completely different location. Okay, for example, my main DB servers are there in New York. My DR servers would be there in probably Chicago, right? One is in East Coast and another one is Central Time Zone. Right, there would be so much distance. If the complete US goes down, that's a different story. Nobody can help it, but usually they would actually try to maintain it in such a way. Okay, and sometimes they actually maintain a DB server in Canada. Okay, so probably one DB server they would actually maintain it in US, and one DB server they would actually maintain it in Canada. Okay. Yes, guys. Is that clear? Yes, both the DB servers goes down. That's a very rare case scenario, and it is possible. Nobody can say it is not possible, but it is possible. But then guys, the DB server and its software are some of the costliest ones, guys. Very, very costly. Okay, now in order to maintain one DR server, you are putting in a lot of money in that, millions of dollars. Okay, now you can't people can't keep maintaining multiple DR servers. Okay, yes, guys.
It's clear, sir.
Any other questions, guys?
No, sure.
All right, guys, we are at the top of the hour. Today we have actually completed the entire architecture, and tomorrow we'll actually talk about the protocols, and we'll actually have a if time permits, we'll actually have a little introduction on the load runner as well. Okay, clear about it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any other questions? Last call. Okay, let me stop recording.